Hey, this is Carla Michelle, and I'm so glad once again to have this time with you today. Another episode on the Strong Network. Yes. So as we are just gathering in and listening, whether you're driving or sitting there with a pencil and a piece of paper or your journal, whatever you do when you listen to this particular podcast, I just want you to get ready as we just talk about something a little different. Something that was brought to my attention, and I overlooked the value of this, I'll call it a terminology, but I also wanted to share with you as we go through life, create our businesses, create the lives that we dream of and hope for and desire as we step out in faith and hope and dreams, as we encourage others in their walk. And as a coach, it is very important to me, because of working with high performing individuals, that we're always expanding our mind. We're always expanding the way we think, the way we feel, the way we show up. And actually, I'm sitting here going through the months and the years and the highlights of my year and how I want to show up in the new year and what I want to bring to the table in my life. And not just for you as someone who listens or subscribes to this podcast, and not just my clients or those I consult with or affiliated with, but really, how do I want to show up for me? And what do I want to see from me, through me, because of me? So thank you again for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to this few minutes with you and to share what's on my mind. First, I do want to say, if you have not already, go ahead and feel free to contact me at hello@drcarlainc.com. If you have any questions about this podcast, about working together as a coach and client, and starting the new year off with a coach is like an amazing thing to consider and actually make come to pass. So go ahead and avail yourself to drcarlainc.com. You're able now to get some clarity coaching for 30 minutes at a really great rate. That is only 30 minutes, and it's not an ongoing thing for you to just use over and over, but it's something real quick for you to grab some insight. And also mark your calendar. Well, I should say mark in your mind that we have Bold and Beautiful, the experience, coming up. This is a retreat. It is a getaway. It is planned in Southern California the weekend of August 26th. So go ahead and mark your calendar for that. More information to come. You can go ahead and email hello@drcarlainc.com. Hello, drcarlainc.com, to get on that waiting list. And that is something I'm really, really excited about. We did it before, in 2019, we did Bare and Beautiful, and about the bareness and the authenticity and the originality of who we are, and embracing that. Now this is bold, and now we are going forth in boldness and confidence in totally being convinced of who we are and what we bring to the table, which flows right into today's title. And I want to call it How to Develop the Serpent Mindset. How to develop your serpent mindset. What do you mean, serpent? Why are you calling me a serpent? I'm not calling you a serpent, but I am talking about the serpent mindset, which is very, very interesting, because I was talking to my sister, and she shared with me some wisdom for my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And in this wisdom, she came to me with, if you're familiar with the scripture or have heard the saying, wise as a serpent but gentle as a dove. And I thought about it and meditated on the notes that she gave me, and it's in my journal for the new year and something I want to meditate on throughout the year and to remind me. But when it comes to being wise as a serpent, it is something, usually we look at serpent as an animal or a figure that represents lies and deceit and temptation and fooling people and manipulation and all that. And that's how it is portrayed. If you've read the Bible, it is portrayed that way with Eve and Adam, of their betrayal of listening to the serpent. I want to take us to one, this is also in the Bible, be wise as a serpent, but I want to take us into the cultural definition of a snake, not just the biblical. Culturally, it represents, for some, like in Africa and other places, other than, the Christian states, it represents fertility or creative force. Symbolizes rebirth and transformation. Snakes and serpents represent immortality and healing. And as you know, as they shed their skin, it's continual renewed life, wisdom. And they demand, just their presence alone demands fear and respect. So with those definitions in themselves, you can see why I want to talk about how empowering and developing your serpent mindset. We live life and not realizing how much power that we have within us, which is something that I always like to work on. But it's also understanding what it means to be wise, what it means to be wise as a serpent. Some of the points that were shared with me, I'm going to share with you, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit more. One of the points that was shared was flourishing more. One thing about a serpent is they flourish more than any other animal around them. What animal do you know that is still thriving for centuries, that BC, AC, still thriving? A serpent is still thriving more than any other animal around us. Another one is they exist and they sustain in spite of the changing world. Snakes don't change. Serpents are still serpents, right? We've gone from dirt roads to walking everywhere we go to horse and carriage and cars and trains and planes, and serpents have been able to sustain and to be relevant even with all the changes in the world, flourishing in spite of hatred. Now that one. You will see a snake and you will scream, you will run, you will hear it rattle, you will respect it, you will stop, you will look for it so you make sure you're not near it because you don't want to be bit or, when you go into their territory. But one thing about them, they flourish even though you're scared. They still thrive. They still go and get their food. They still slither around this earth. But there's something about their ability to flourish in spite of being hated. Can you do that? When we talk about a mindset, can you flourish in spite of being disliked? Can you flourish despite of being misunderstood? Can you flourish in spite of being overlooked, not seen? Snakes are not necessarily out in the public eye, and they're just not slithering around everywhere you are. They're kind of hidden. They're hidden. Actually, they're kind of smart because, people freak out and step on them or chop their tail or head or whatever to stop them. But they flourish in spite of being hated. And the next one, they evoke fear, right? They evoke fear. We respect them for who they are and what they can do. How about you? Are you respected for who you are and what you can do? I'm going to just pause. How are you respected for who you are and what you can do? Are you reverenced? Are you feared because of who you are and what you can do? And not feared like scared, feared like admired, feared like celebrated. Serpents have the ability to live anywhere in the world. Your mindset, your life, your body, can you live anywhere in the world and be okay? And I hear some of you guys saying, no way. I mean, we barely want to move from our hometown that we grew up in. But one thing about a serpent is the ability to live anywhere in the world and live anywhere in the world and thrive. So what is holding you back from going outside of your comfort zone? Because you have to know that you can thrive and survive. I don't even want to say survive. I want to say thrive anywhere that you go, anywhere that you decide to plant yourself. Any job that you decide to take on, you can thrive. And when it don't work, shed the skin and move on like a snake, right? Ability to flourish in any sphere. Snakes, they can flourish in any atmosphere. Water, land, sea, air. Snakes can flourish. They don't have to have a particular climate because they are able to adjust in various ways. Yes, there's snakes that have to have the warm lamps on them, the cage one. But do you understand where they are? They're able to adapt. They're able to flourish. The other one, nothing has been able to stop them. They live, eat, and they multiply. Nothing can stop a snake. I don't care how scared you are, how intimidated you are, but nothing has been able to stop them. They live, they eat, and they multiply. So I kind of attached couple of them to you, but I'm going to start over here with flourishing more than anyone around you. You have the ability to flourish more than anyone in your circle, anyone in your family, anyone in the company, anyone of your colleagues, anyone in your industry. You are able to flourish more than anyone around you. And it's not because, I'm going to say it is because the circumstances don't make you, you make the circumstances. You are able to flourish anywhere more than anyone else around you. The second was sustaining in spite of change. You are able to sustain who you are and exist who you are and who you know you are to be, regardless of what is happening in the world. I say this again, through what has happened over the last couple of years, people were still able to exist and sustain and thrive and make more money than they ever had in the midst of businesses closing down, in the midst of people health failing, in the midst of economic disruption, and they were still able to flourish and sustain. You have that same power in you. You have that same mindset. How are you when people hate you? Do you shut down? Do you shut down? Do you give up? Do you walk in the room and you're quiet because you can just sense the hatred? Do you go home and you can just feel the tension and you just shut down? And not because you shut down because that's the wise thing to do. You shut down because you're intimidated. You shut down because you don't believe that you have the value and the need for that particular incident. One thing about the snake, hatred is real for the snake, but it doesn't stop it from going out. It doesn't stop it from being a snake. It's like, you hate me, good. You'll move out of my way. You hate me, fine. I know that thank you for showing me. So I'm going to stay away from, but I'm going to protect myself as a snake does from any hurt, harm, or danger that you would try to bring my way and you get too close. I'm going to show myself in a way that helps you know to step back. Evoke fear, right? That's where putting that fear in there of understanding that you ever been around somebody and especially like a boss or just someone in authority mostly, and they're very present. Just presence makes you fearful. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to go ask them. I don't want to go talk to them. That is what I mean about evoking fear. That's what that serpent mindset is that the who you are, it puts a different type of light on how that people approach you and why they approach you. That is when I talk about that serpent mindset. It's that fear that needs to be, it's a respect. It's a respect of who you are and what you bring to the table. Where are you holding yourself back? We talked about that. Be able to live anywhere. Why are you holding yourself back? Where in your life do you need to develop the mindset that you can thrive anywhere you go? Well, I don't want to take that job because it's in another country, but you want it, but you just don't believe that you'll do as well as you thought you would where you are now. But you want to go and you should go. But you're saying no because you're not believing that you can thrive in any circumstance, in any atmosphere, in any type of situation that you're put in. With the serpent mindset, it is that knowledge of understanding that anywhere you go, you will thrive. Anywhere you need to be, you will thrive. I just want you to think about that because, excuse me, I'm sneezing. Fear, lack of confidence, lack of self-value, lack of knowing who you are, lack of understanding what you bring to the table and that you're necessary is what holds you and it will stop you from shedding skin that no longer serves you. That is the way of a serpent. You shed things and take off things that hinder your move forward, right? It's time for newness. It's time for a new way of thinking and being revitalized. It's even as we go from one year to the next, it's time to shed the old things and to become in and step into and wear the new things, the new skin. The new skin. Grow and develop in a healthy way. It is time. It is time. It is time. So you need to stay alert, as a snake does, of what's hazardous. But yet they're going to stand up for who they are. They're alert of what could be hazardous. But they understand who they are and the defense that they have to protect who they are and what they want, what they're looking to do. All right? So as we develop a serpent mindset, sounds crazy me even saying it, but as we develop a serpent mindset, what we're doing is equipping us in such a way and giving us such a mind, how do I want to put that? Giving us such an outlook and a thought process. There we are. Such an outlook and a thought process that when we come up against things and we think about being wise, we don't just think about in that moment. We think about who we are always in that moment. Does that make sense? It's not just in that moment, but we think about who we are always in that moment. You're smart. You can flourish. You evoke fear and respect. You are able to thrive anywhere in the world. You're able to be admired. You're able to be looked upon as special. So these are the things when you're thinking about the next steps in your life, the things that you want to do or accomplish. Does the serpent mindset, I'll say that again, does the serpent mindset of flourishing more than any other animal around you or any other person around you, existing and sustaining in spite of change, flourishing in spite of being hated, being feared and respected, the ability to live anywhere you want to live and are required to live, the ability to flourish in any type of atmosphere, and nothing can stop you from living and multiplying, and believing that nothing can stop you from living and multiplying. But every situation you are growing and you're developing in a healthy way. And no one has to see the way you shed your skin, right? Because they do it. I mean, usually we don't see it. You actually, have you ever... When I lived in Texas, there was a snake who had, I guess, found a home in in our garage. And we only knew it was a snake there because we found the skin that the snake had shed. So that means, I don't know how often they shed, so I don't want to give a time frame. But that meant that snake had been there a while. And the thing is that they went there to shed their skin. And then actually they were still there, but that was their home. But the point is, it wasn't in front of everyone. It wasn't witnessed by all. So your wisdom is outwardly shown. The change in the work that you do in the dark of what no one sees, that's where your change is. You know that saying, it's also a scripture. It says, what is done in the dark will be brought into the light. And we always interpret that, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to be interpreted, that what you do, the bad things you do, the sins you do in the dark will come out in the light. And it's true. But I also believe that the good that you do in the dark, the changes that you make, the adjustments that you make that no one sees you're working on, the personal development that you invest in that no one really knows, people like to have a coach and they'll tell everybody, but a lot of people who have coaches and like to tell everybody about it are not doing the work. It's those quiet ones that they know they got a coach. They tell a certain few, but they're doing the work in the dark so that they can come out in the light. So the serpent mindset, what do you think of that? What do you think about seeing the serpent in a different light? Seeing your life in a different light and having the example of a serpent mentality and what you can do no matter what, no matter who's coming at you, no matter how you feel about change, you are able to flourish in any situation and circumstance that comes to you. You're able to adjust, you're able to change, you're able to relocate. You're so able, and you're able to be respected and feared in any industry, in any job position, in any leadership position, because you have the serpent mindset. All right, this is Carla Michelle, and I hope that many parts of what I said bore witness to you. And if you ever have any questions, once again, hello@drcarlainc.com. And I look forward to seeing you at Bold and Beautiful coming in August. And also boot camps are coming. Group coaching is coming. A lot is coming for you to get involved and to grow. All right. Take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.